Hi guys, this is Jenny from King Cardiva Dolls on Instagram and obviously Create Right Meow on YouTube. What I'm doing today is I'm going to be repainting this Spectra doll, and I've never repainted a Spectra, so I'm excited to see how it goes. This doll is going to be for the Retro Doll US Lovestruck collab, which is like a Valentine's Day love themed collaboration between a bunch of different Instagram and I guess YouTube people. Anyways, what you can see here is I'm just going about like the normal method of I cut the hair off as short as possible, and then I use pure acetone to remove the factory paint. And then once that's done, I wash the face and boil water, which then I soak the doll head in. Also, I make hot chocolate because the weather here in Canada is awful right now. So once the head has soaked in some hot water for a while, it's easy to just stick pliers or something in the head and sort of like rub them around and pull out all the hair that's left and all the chunky gross glue. Ew. This doll had so much like gross hard glue chunks in there. I ended up having to shake them out like I was shaking salt out of a salt shaker. It was pretty nasty. So as you can see, I have a pretty big pile of grossness from inside her head. And it's not as big of a deal to get everything out unless you're doing a reroute, which I was planning on doing with this doll. So if you're just making a wig, you don't actually have to get all the glue and everything out from inside the head. And because I'm giving her a different colored hair, I'm removing the purple paint from her head with, again, just pure acetone. And it's important to reroute before you do the face up if you're using Mr. Super Clear, because I have learned and the hard way that when you do it afterwards you crack your face up and it looks really bad. So you may be wondering what the heck I'm cutting here. I got this, it's like hair extension sort of thing, but it was from the dollar store, so I thought I would attempt to reroute a doll with it. It was sort of weird in that it was like, see all the like really short weird hair that's coming out of the longer hair, so I'm not really sure. It sort of had like the texture of like, I don't know how to describe it, I guess people hair that was like kind of had split ends or something, so it took a bit to tame it, but it did end up working out pretty well. So here, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Spectra dolls, but they do, like, some of them have sort of these, like, ghostly chain handcuff things on their hands, which I didn't really need for my doll. Not quite what I was going for, so I'm just using my Dremel tool to remove those. And then I also use the Dremel to just smooth out any of the ridges, and then if I'm doing something like the dress I'm making is sort of tighter, so I remove the top sort of like lip of their plastic underpants, I guess, because sometimes if the dress is the wrong material or too tight, that can show through and look weird. So I also use it to sand off on the inside of the arms. There's it says like left and right arm, and the bottom of the feet, and I get off as much of the back serial number and things that I can. I'm not sure if I've mentioned in my previous videos or anything, but I love the Dremel. It is so much fun to use, and it makes any kind of like body modifications and things like so much easier. So I've been using it a lot since I bought one in the fall. Sometimes it's easy to get a little out of control with it and do a little too much modifications, and then it can sort of be a little weird looking. So I try to make sure I only do what I have to, and then I get my sanding blocks and I just like buff the body with the rest of those. Because with the Dremel, if you slip or something, you will get like a groove in the plastic, which isn't good. So once it's all sanded and sprayed with Mr. Super Clear, then I go in with my pan pastels. And I wanted her to just sort of have like a pale complexion. And I'm always really bad for forgetting to do the body, so I just do like the face up and then have to try to match the body to it. So this time I wanted to do them both at the same time, so I didn't have to worry about that. And yeah, the pan pastels are a new investment for me, and I love them. I can't believe, like, I mean, considering, okay, so I'm using like a really light color on white basically, but you can already see like it's got just so much like pigment in it, and it's so, like, it goes on so easily. So first all I'm doing is just going over all the white. Oh, and you'll notice she had the see-through arms and legs, and off camera I just added some white paint to them once they were sanded and sprayed. Because if you try to go over the clear with the pastel, I find it just takes a really long time to build up the color you want, so just a bit of white paint speeds the process along. And now I'm just adding the same tone to the head, so that everything matches up. I'm not doing any contouring or anything until I start sketching the features. What I was going for with this doll was I wanted just something like super glamorous and pink and like sparkly, which maybe isn't too like Lovestruck, but I sort of thought, like, you know, a super fancy model going out on Valentine's Day or something is what I was going for. So I'm just using some of my other pastels to sort of mix with the pan pastel and blush like the joints and the knees. Tried to make it a little more realistic looking. And then I go in with my darker pan pastel and try to just sort of bring out some detail that, well, add some detail that isn't necessarily there, you know, like shadow of a rib and the belly button, stuff like that, collarbone. It doesn't make a huge difference, but I find even just the very subtle difference, it adds a lot for the amount of time it takes. Oh, that's Lycan, my cat. He decided he wanted to help. He did not help. So I know it kind of doesn't look like I'm doing much. It's very light, especially on the camera here. But once you spray things with Mr. Super Clear, it does darken. So I have noticed that again the hard way by doing more coats on like a face, and then my face ends up way darker than the body I did because I do more coats of the Mr. Super Clear. So I always try to go lighter than I intend. Now I'm just using my Faber-Castell watercolor pencils to sketch the eye shape. And I wanted her to have almost, not like a smirk, but just like, I don't know, kind of a smirk. And then once I have that penciled in, I go in with the pinks and reds and sort of start contouring. And of course, this is my favorite part. I love doing the face-ups and bringing these, you know, little faces to life. I don't know if that's weird, but I have a lot of fun doing it. I've always loved faces and like sketching faces and making, you know, faces out of clay and things, so it makes sense that I love this doll customizing thing. So the rest of this is just me working away on the face. So rather than just talk through it all, I'll just add some music because it's about 10 minutes of just the face up. If you don't want to watch the whole thing, that's fine. You can just skip to the end to see the finished doll. The dress I made off camera, and same with the shoes, and the hairstyle I did off camera because it's very hard to do hair. Well, I think any doll customizer I watch or anything has said they have to hold the doll between their knees to do their hair, and I have to do the same thing, and that would be a weird thing to post on the internet, I feel. So I did that off camera. And yeah, the shoes I made with polymer clay, and the dress I made with like fuchsia satin that I had got from a fabric store ages ago, and I just thought it was like the perfect Valentine's Day color. It's the first time I have sketched out like a dress idea and then just made it, which was pretty exciting and fun, and I'm really glad it turned out like almost exactly like I wanted. And it's also the first doll clothing that I have used a sewing machine for, because I just got my sewing machine up and running. So you will see lots of pictures at the end of this video. So I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you for watching. I know my posting schedule is pretty erratic, but yeah, I'm not good with schedules, so I'd say I'd post more, but there's a good chance I won't. But I will keep making dolls and posting them on my Instagram, so you can see all my projects there. I think I've probably done 20 dolls since my last video. So again, thanks for watching. Hit the like button if you like seeing these videos, and you can subscribe to me if you want to see more videos, since who knows when they'll come out. So if you're not subscribed, you'll probably miss them. And I have something kind of secretive, kind of fun planned that no one really knows about yet. So this is just my little teaser that something is coming. and it's exciting, I think. Okay. Thanks for watching. Bye!